This is justice. And I understand why. Because sometimes harm is visible. Sometimes harm is obvious. Sometimes the whole community can see it and respond. But I want to talk about another kind of harm. The kind you don't see. The kind that happens quietly, strategically, over time. Because as a queer person, and especially as a queer person who speaks, who names things, who refuses silence, you are not always attacked directly. Sometimes you are set up. Sometimes you are curated into a scandal. While I was in Finland, people were working behind my back to sabotage everything I had built. And at the same time, there was an attempt to create a sex scandal, or a scandal through sex. Not randomly, intentionally, to make sure there would be a record of my naked body, to make sure there would be something they could use. I was even offered porn as a job. And this was not coming from ignorance. This was coming from someone who knew exactly who I am. As an artist, as an activist, as someone whose voice carries weight. And let me be clear, I have nothing against sex work. I have nothing against the adult entertainment industry. But when something like that is presented to you in that context, you know it is not about opportunity. It is about positioning. It is about making sure that if you ever speak, your voice can be reduced to your body. Because once your voice threatens power, whether that power is institutional, communal, or even within activist spaces, people look for ways to discredit you. And for queer people, sex is one of the easiest weapons. So while that was happening abroad, something else was happening at home. Everything I had built in Ghana was being quietly dismantled. Connections, opportunities, work, community, all being interfered with. So what you begin to see is a pattern. You are being pushed into two directions at the same time. Abroad, you are being curated into a scandal. At home, you are being erased, so that when you return, there is nothing left to stand on. No support, no structure, no access. And then you are forced into a position where you have to make choices just to survive. And this is where we need to be honest. A lot of people in sex work, in porn, in survival economies, especially in queer communities, are not there from pure freedom. They are there because they were pushed, because they were excluded, because every other door was closed, and systems know this. Communities know this, so they weaponize it. They push you there and then use it against you. They say, see, this is who you are, when in reality they engineered the conditions. And once that happens, you are cornered. You are no longer taken seriously. You are no longer invited into spaces. You are no longer allowed to stand in community with credibility. And then they turn around and blame you for being absent. Blame you for not showing up. Blame you for not contributing, when the truth is you were pushed out. So yes, I'm in Ghana now, and yes, I chose exile, because when you see the full picture, you understand. This is not accidental. This is what happens when your voice cannot be controlled. They don't always beat you. Sometimes they try to turn you into a scandal, and if that doesn't work, they erase you. That is the true queer condition. Especially for those of us in the global south, and specifically in Ghana. Until we confront that reality, there will be no queer liberation. Until we address the racism and abuse that we actively protect just to maintain donor funding and institutional visibility, there will be no queer liberation. Showing up only when an anti-gay bill is passed, shouting kill the bill, performing support, that is not enough. It barely scratches the surface. Let's call it what it is: visibility politics. Because while we perform outrage publicly, the real issues queer people face are silenced internally. And when those issues are raised, they are dismissed, labeled as anger, jealousy, envy, especially when they challenge, or organizations that institutions have already endorsed. So the question is, who gets to speak and who gets to be heard? Until queer people can speak about their realities without being punished or discredited, there will be no liberation. Until power dynamics and racism within our own communities are dismantled, there will be no liberation. Until queer people have autonomy, real autonomy over their lives, their narratives, and even how donor money is used in their own communities, there will be no liberation. Until queer people have jobs, have financial independence, and have security, there will be no liberation. Because in a homophobic society, especially here in Africa, security is something you often have to buy. And if it already is a risk to exist as an ordinary person, what does that mean for someone who is openly queer? So let's be honest, until these conditions are met, shout and kill the bill alone is not liberation, it is performance, and performance will not save us. My name is Oteanankanduro, the healer of snake bites. Like, share, comment, follow, scan the QR to support my work and music.